find my answers in the snow. The static on the radio, the ways I learned to let go. And I know it's not so complicated as you make it. Drop me, let it go. Drop me, let it go. Drop me, let it go. I'll never yield and see the world the way you do. It's meaningless, that's only one man's point of view. And part of me, I'll never make it up to you. Sometimes they just repeat. And I know no fantasy that I believe is staying. Drop me, let it go. Drop me, let it go. Drop me, let it go. I'm real, see the world great. It's meaningless, that's only one man's brain. And I can never say.
Hello and welcome to the Pink Sofa Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. I am joined here today by Anterra and previous Pink Sofa Hour guest Peter Stone. How are you guys doing today?
We're great.
Doing good.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. What a lovely tune you guys just played for us. What was it called?
That song is called Static.
Static.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is actually, as I see here from my notes, unreleased currently.
Unreleased, yeah. So I have 2 singles out. I'm honestly pretty new to this whole like singer-songwriter and releasing music under my own name thing. I've been doing it seriously for, well, I wrote my first song about 2 years ago, so not long.
Wow.
And so I've had 2 singles come out this year, and all the songs I'm going to play today are off an upcoming album, which will come out early next year.
That's super exciting. So
Thanks.
You've been writing music for only 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been playing music for longer than that?
Yeah, I started on the violin when I was 10, like just shy of my 11th birthday. And I remember my mom teaching me to harmonize and sing when I was probably 3 years old. So
Oh, that's good.
primarily a singer, then a violinist for a long time.
That's super cool. So Suzuki method, or did you not have to go that deep into the...
No, I was in orchestra, like classically trained and all that. That took me as far as when I was studying abroad in Sweden. I auditioned for like the town
Yeah.
orchestra. I got into the symphony orchestra, so we got to tour throughout Sweden and Denmark, and I got to play.
That's
in
super
these,
cool.
Yeah, awesome old churches.
Wow.
But the
So
violin.
you've already gone on tour, technically, as a musician.
Technically, yes. We actually just got back from tour doing this last week, but that was my European stint.
Wow. And what did you guys do, I believe, on the East Coast? You guys mentioned you were?
West Coast.
You were on the West Coast.
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
A few weeks ago we got back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
guys did a little roundabout on the circuit over there?
A lot of driving, yeah. We started northwest towards Portland. Two of my friends were getting married, and they wanted me to play harp in their wedding. So I got to do that. It was a huge honor. And
Wow.
then I figure while I'm there, why don't I just play some more shows?
And so you play the harp as well?
As of recently, I play the harp, yeah.
Harp, violin, vocalist, guitarist,
hmm
anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I've heard theremins are pretty fun to play for people who have a pretty good ear. I don't know if
Yes.
you've thought about getting into those.
I got to play with one while we were on tour. We walked into this like funky shop with all these crazy synthesizers. My first time trying one, it was super cool.
Wow, okay. So there's this segment on the show that sometimes I save for later for some reason, but I think we're going to just try this a little early. I don't know if you
Okay.
guys have seen one of these before.
I have.
Peter's smiling like
Only
he,
on the
he
internet,
knows.
yeah.
I'm not sure.
So
I
here it
remember
is
what
in
does.
person. This is called an automaton, and for anybody that doesn't know what they do, sometimes they run out of battery. That's what
No.
No.
they do.
He looks so
We'll have to
cute,
set this
though.
up for a later segment of the show.
We'll have to.
Yeah.
But it is very adorable and very on brand, and sort of like a theremin.
Yes,
I've
yeah.
invited people to play it before, and it's a unanimous either you love it or hate it kind of thing.
I think I'd love it. I
Yeah.
can tell. Yeah.
I could tell. So, welcome to the Colorado scene as a singer-songwriter. How do you feel supported by your fellow musicians and venues and
Good question.
locals? Yeah.
It's so interesting for me because I'm from Colorado. I grew up, I went to Lakewood High School. We moved, I've lived in every part of Colorado pretty much. And then I moved away for several years, and it was in other places that I think I really sunk into my own artistry and expression and started writing music. And so coming back to where I'm from, which is just always an interesting experience, but to do so like with my own art as something to kind of help me find community has honestly been amazing. And yeah, I found a ton of wonderful musicians and community that way.
Yeah, it sounds like you've been sort of expanding the sound a little bit too. I'm not sure exactly how the recordings went down, but it seems like it's very sort of like bedroom dream pop kind of vibes. You definitely might not, I'm not sure, have like a full band complement that follows you out and plays everywhere. What's the status currently of the live rendition of this outside of this space?
Totally. So, I mean, finding Peter, their guitar just, I feel like, was such a perfect complement as that first piece live that I think fills in so much of that dreamy, kind of ethereal sound that you're referring to.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a very tasteful complement going on between the vocals and sort of like the guitars, like vocals. After going through a lot of effects, it kind of takes on that sort of, like as you said, ethereal sort of tone. Yeah.
Yeah, like on the recordings, I think part of what I see as my sound is this heavily layered set of vocals where I can harmonize with myself and just build and build into something really cinematic. And on stage, I obviously am only one of me, so I can't sing, like 8 layers of vocals. So having the really dreamy guitar fill that in is fantastic. And then I do have a full band, so I also have a synth player, a bassist, and a drummer. And we just did our first show as a full band last week.
Amazing.
And we have our next one this week. Or I guess that was a few weeks ago.
It's a few weeks
Time is
ago.
flying by.
November tends to do that. It's like
Yeah.
the sprint to the new year, and then you realize like you've been drunk for like 3 months, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just so fast. So that was a few weeks ago. We are all playing together this Thursday.
At Broadway Roxy
Yes.
in the Speakeasy.
Yeah.
My brain's breaking.
Speakeasy
today.
downstairs, which is like honestly one of my favorite spots. That I've only been around this area for like a year, but of all the places I've been, I'm like this basement Speakeasy is sweet.
Yeah,
It's like all
the
this
Roxy's really cool.
luxurious armchairs and fancy cocktails, and it's cool. Yeah.
Very classy.
I like license number 1 in the realm of classy cocktail bars as well. Have you guys tried to play there yet?
No, I haven't even heard of that.
We haven't played there, but
It's up in Boulder.
I've hung out there, and it's the same kind of vibe. We're like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I feel like Frank Sinatra.
That's a great feeling to have. So far, Stasis, this first song that you played for us.
Static.
Static.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
You're fine.
Is unreleased, but you have 2 other releases
I do.
that have been out for a little while.
Yeah.
And that's Green and White Checker and Purple Onion Skin.
Yes.
I noticed a distinct lack of color in the Static.
Yeah, it's so funny.
title.
I've had people ask, like,
Well, the
is
fans
every song on the
will
album
know.
going to be a song
Yeah.
or a color? And no, it was totally coincidental, and I don't think I even realized until both were released that ended up taking place. So no, the songs that I'm choosing from what I've written that go together on the album are all very intimate feeling, and I think they all were born out of this kind of phase of my life, which was very tumultuous insofar as it was a real stripping away, like some internal work and processing.
A renewal kind of thing.
Yeah, some healing. And yeah, so all of them have kind of shorter titles that are less colorful. And definitely the sound leans in that direction as well, of being more intimate and stripped down
darker.
and sad. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's cool. Yeah, I feel like the 2 songs that you have out right now are sort of kind of vignette-y kind of things. They kind of evoke sort of a picture, not as much like feeling, but the feelings are still there, obviously,
Yeah.
through all of the choices in the musical sort of, structure that you go with. But yeah, to me, they were a little bit more lighthearted, so it's nice to see where the sound is going.
Thank you, yeah.
And out of curiosity, what actually drew you to start wanting to write music? That's, I think, an interesting path or choice that has to be made for any musician who's played
Yeah.
outside of a creative scope, learning covers and stuff like that, but even in the classical world, like really kind of almost going on tour as a 9-year-old.
Yeah.
To all that.
I think that, in my opinion, like, playing the violin, I was so drawn to it as a kid, and having it and tuning my ear and learning how to play it was a beautiful outlet, but it didn't feel like it got at this core emotionally of what I wanted to express with music. The way I listen to and consume music, like a lot of my favorite singer-songwriters, it's very lyrically driven, it's very like emotional, and
Sure.
I spend enough time, processing and overanalyzing my thoughts and everything anyway, and just really craving an outlet for that. And so, I played violin after college in my adult life in other people's bands who were singer-songwriters, and that was getting closer. That being on stage experience and playing that type of music definitely got me into the realm of, I love doing this, but it's still not mine. I know I want to sing. And I would see, some band live, and I would just feel this, like, kind of between sorrow and anger, this feeling of, I know I could do that if I just gave myself a chance, and I just couldn't not give myself that chance and try anymore.
Yeah.
So I bought a guitar at the beginning of 2020 and, like, taught myself to play it, and
Is it
just...
a pandemic guitar?
It was not. It predated it just a bit. Yeah, I had trying to been say about for it since like December, so I think I got it in January. Wrote a couple of songs, and then the pandemic hit. So that was obviously great timing that I had this new thing to kind of.
Right, you didn't even have to
pour
go to the
myself
store, the mask on.
Right.
You were ready to go.
I was ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. That's I think a really common theme for people who do sort of have that in their destiny or in their mind and something that they want to do is the feeling that they see other people performing and it's like, I could do that. I that looks amazing. I want to be up there.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned some of the inspirations that you have. I oftentimes like to ask people to tell me, you don't have to hand over your phone or anything, but honestly tell me, what is the last thing on your Spotify that you were listening to?
Yeah, this morning I listened to The Weatherman by Gregory Alan Isakov. That album is like so core to my soul, and
Nice.
I think anytime I'm going through something hard or emotional or I'm getting ready for bed, it's just like the soundtrack to my soft, soothing self-life.
That's great.
So yeah, that's what I listened to this morning while I journaled.
Very nice. Peter, would you like to give us your Spotify input?
Yes, I was listening to the latest episode of Upstream, which is like a radical economics podcast that I find really mind-blowing. Where it sounds boring because it's about economics, but it's like...
No, economics is actually like fascinating.
It's
in a
super
way.
fascinating,
Yeah.
and they have takes on things that just like... I've never been so mind-blown by a podcast. So Upstream.
Upstream.
It's like the whole idea is like take whatever problem you're finding and go upstream of it and see like what are the root causes of this. Like,
Ooh.
you see a bunch of like
Cool.
trash floating by in the river. Don't just pick it out. Go find upstream where
the trash is coming
where
from.
it's coming from. So that's what I was listening to.
I
this
like
morning.
that
Yes.
as a spiritual sort of seeking pattern too. It's like, why am I feeling all these like horrible emotions today? It's like, well, like where are these horrible emotions coming from?
Yeah,
Like it
like
works in so many ways.
yeah, not
Yeah.
just doing the coping and the like, the immediate addressing of whatever stress, but being like, okay, well, what kind of habits can I establish, or what relationships can I
I'm
improve or cut off, or
I like that. I think that that's a very almost like transcendent economics sort of concept. Also, you get 1 point for that, Peter. So far, you're the only one to have accrued a point.
Oh, really?
I don't tell anybody what the rules are for accruing points. I just
Nice
kind of
work.
let people know when they've
That's
got
sick.
one.
How-
I also can deduct points.
Uh-oh.
I will say that, but
Okay.
usually, actually, so far, the only person who has lost any points is me
Ah.
and Scooter for farting.
Mm.
But he's still at 0 today.
He's
Well, actually, no. He gets a good 1 point because he's being a good quiet
He's
boy
not.
there.
He's not howling. When I was on here before, he was singing along. When I was
Yeah.
singing, so which is nice.
Be a welcome
but,
addition, yeah.
You have to be very lucky to get Scooter to sing along with you,
Yeah.
or if he's just in the mood.
yeah.
So that's great. You have so many songs that you have not yet released.
Yeah,
that
that's
are
true.
coming.
It feels overwhelming to think about that, yeah, and to want to get them out, but yeah.
Is it going to be like a 7, 10 song LP, EP kind of thing?
How many am I actually putting on it? I think it might be 8 songs.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you play out, do you play a lot of these songs for people? Has it been an album that's been sort of seasoned in the crowds?
Yes.
I always love that because it really is sort of like something that changes how it is that those songs are written by the actual artist and perceived by the community, because there's kind of a feedback mechanism
Yeah.
before they get put into stone. Whereas a lot of music is sort of driven conceptually by artists in studios before consumption, public consumption. I
Yeah.
like the organic record.
So much of why I've part of my process of becoming a singer-songwriter and why I love performing is that it's very reciprocal. I think the power that I hold in my music is being able to make it very emotional and offer this space to people and let them feel their feelings and go through something. And my writing process tends to be very channeled and very going upstream of my own problems. Writing music is that for me, getting the core of what's taking place and just funneling it into something else, and then offering that really raw, that giving it to others and connecting with them through that is what makes it so special. So yeah, this whole album's really been a process of me growing and learning how to write from my voice and learning how to perform and learning how to be with others and find what resonates, and it's really grown with me, and now I'm finally kind of letting it go. And I think that's kind of what the entire album is letting that chapter fall away, this process of growth and healing, and now releasing it.
Sort of accepting the fact that you've sort of been through this almost pubescent stage as a musician,
Totally.
of deciding how you want to sound, what kind of things you want to say, what your relationship to your audience is, and kind of coming out and being sort of a musical adult.
Yeah. So many of the those early songs that are not going to be on the album, I think, were some of that phase, that sort of pubescent learning. And then these are the ones that each one I felt so grounded in. I had found my voice, I had found that kind of adult state and how I want to connect. And those are what I'm kind of immortalizing on the internet in terms of
incredible.
Yeah.
That's how we all cherish our fondest things, as we put it out on the internet.
So real, yes.
So tell me, do you have a name for this album? feel like names are all very
Yes.
powerful things.
Yes.
And
It is. Yeah.
you can tell me the story of how you found it as well, if you'd like.
I'm calling the album These Things Take Time. Yeah. And
Okay.
I don't yet have a song called that, and it's not a line in any of the songs, and that song may come. And that's what's been, I've been in this like weird phase of knowing I have to write kind of this quintessential song. This
You
last
don't have to. I
I
think
don't
that
have to. I
albums
can
that
leave it.
don't have a titular song
Yeah.
that belong to the title of the album have sort of a mystique to them. That
Oh,
it's like,
thank you.
like this sort of like concept is tying all these things together. There's not like some concept leading the charge.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Because I've given the writing of that song a few attempts of this, like, I should wrap it all up and, like, say something, really neat and packaged. And I just don't think that's going to happen. I think it's been, like, a cathartic process, and I'm going to let it be. So
It seems like that's the natural decision to be taken. I hate to influence anybody's
no,
thoughts.
thank you for the permission to do so. That's awesome.
I
It
think,
also makes sense that it would be hard to be like, okay, you wrote all these different songs tackling this topic, and you're like, we'll have to do one that does
I know.
the work of all the other 7 or 8.
Yeah. Impossible task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about albums that don't have a song like that as well, that has the title of the album, because it forces people to not gravitate to one particular song.
True.
When you like see somebody released an album, and you're like, oh, it's called Love Me Anywhere, like the first song you probably listen to
Right.
is Love Me Anywhere.
Yeah, okay, that gets at the point of what they're saying. Yeah, this is really more like a... And it's
It's
bold,
like, no,
too.
have a seat, like,
Yes.
please listen to this whole thing.
Wanting people to listen to the whole album. I know the algorithm really incentivizes, like, releasing a single every so often, but I've been holding on to these songs because they feel like a body of work that feels really kind of sacred together. So I'll probably release one first as, like, a preface to the album, and then kind of release it in its full form.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, we've been talking so much about this album. Is there a song that perhaps you'd like to play for us?
Yeah, sure. I would love to.
You want to talk about it? Tell us the title, or just
Yes.
rip right into it?
I will talk about it, actually. It's called Brittle. So I was in the process of writing a different song, and I have a connective tissue disorder that basically I have hypermobility in my joints, which can be painful. So this kind of like chronic ongoing pain is just something that I've dealt with. But a new way that I've discovered that it affects me is in this song I was trying to write, the chord shape that I was trying to hold with my hands was becoming very painful, and I couldn't keep it up.
Yeah.
And it was like this pain I was experiencing in the moment, but then also this projecting into the future of, okay, what if I lose my ability to play guitar and have this expression and like play string instruments, which I've done my whole life.
Very scary dream for a lot of
yeah.
string instrument players. Yeah.
Completely. And so all of this sort of sorrow, I wanted to pay homage to and just like try to reach a point of acceptance with, but also just allow the grief that I feel for like that potential and also the pain I'm experiencing in the present for my own body to exist. So I put down the song that I was writing. I wrote this instead, and it just kind of poured out of me in its full form. And so here it is.
Let me make this your problem, 'cause I cannot bear it alone. All of my ways and habits, they haunt and settle in my bones. Tired as they were already, pressures they have known, when the aching it leads to splinter, crack through which I've been shut. soul persist a little longer, and my body seems to care. Let me leave melody behind, like smoke heavy in the air. If my brittle fingers will find me petrified, don't know how long I'll fare, but I've always preferred dry flowers, much to my despair. And the air they breathe is like poison too. The dream they weave is my only responsibility. So let me keep dreaming, let me keep breathing, let me stay in peace. Let me keep dreaming, let me keep breathing, let me stay in peace. Let me keep dreaming, let me keep breathing, let me stay breathing.
Wow. That was haunting.
Thanks.
Loved it.
Thank you.
I almost felt like I was in a cinematic kind of movie. I couldn't quite tell what it was about, but it felt like the character was sort of like climbing a mountain almost, sort of persevering.
Cool.
Almost like a bittersweetness to like the effort. This song, you said it was called Brittle.
Brittle. Yeah.
Really good. And that's coming up on the upcoming album.
Yeah. I'll release that one as a single first, I think. So
Nice.
Look for it soon.
And so when you have more instruments, more of an arrangement to play with,
Yeah.
what do you usually do with more layers, more textures? How do you approach the drums? Do you kind of let people in your band sort of feel it out themselves, or do you have more of a very direct sort of process?
So far, that's a good question. It's been different between like the recordings and the live performance. So starting with the recordings that I did earlier this year and I'm working on now, I think because I'm a vocalist first and foremost, I do the vocal layers first. So I track like my main guitar part and then the lead melody, and then all the harmonies really add shape to the song, to what I picture for that texture and like where it swells and how, you know, dense it should be and how, you know, emotionally kind of impactful in one moment versus another.
Yeah.
And then my good friend Elliot Johnson in Virginia is my producer I've been working with, and so he very intuitively then added like the synth and drum layers to kind of complement those vocals and lead into those places that you know, were bigger or smaller.
Yeah.
With our live setup, yeah, I'm like blessed to work with, you know, really talented folks who send them music ahead of time, and you know, it's clear kind of the emotional experience we're getting at, and letting
professional
them,
musicians who
write their parts,
yeah,
and
it's crazy.
Yeah, really like just bring so much thoughtfulness and have really been in service to the songs themselves and like how I want them to be delivered. So yeah, it's been like really wonderful to collaborate.
In particular, one thing that I was curious about, since I think it's a little bit challenging with more layers, is I think that this last song that you played for us, Brittle, has these really, really tasteful moments of silence that kind of everything sort of recedes away. And doing that with a whole band, a synthesizer, a drum kit, has to have some kind of, you know, different approach to how it is that you did it today, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll just have to go to one of your shows.
Yeah,
Check it out.
you have to.
This Thursday.
Yeah, this Thursday. I will say it's been really wonderful how dynamic the songs can become with leaning into those moments of silence or like stripped away, or like just having a touch of synth or piano, to then like having the drums and the full, you know, production in certain moments. But I will say we've not been afraid as a band to be really stripped down and allow for like that still silence and stillness and emotional intensity to just bleed through, which has been really cool, because I could see, your question's so valid, like when you add all the layers, is it too much? Does it kind of take away from
the power
the
of
rawness?
that silence? Yeah, it's powerful. It's really good. I like a good awareness that music is also made between the spaces of sound. You know, I think that that's really, really coveted thing that people achieve when they're really writing, sort of like without getting in the way of themselves. It's weird. It's like a flow state. I have a lot of respect for it, and that's part of why I do the show.
Cool.
So, we're in just such a lovely little post-blizzard sort of place right now here in Colorado. What is your guys' favorite snow activities?
I do ski.
There you go.
I like to ski.
Yeah.
I like to use it as an excuse to be really indulgent and just cozy up and stay inside and read a book and not engage with the snow, I guess.
That's one of my favorite things about, in Miami growing up, it was probably the hurricanes, is, lights are going to be messed up and things are going to be sometimes catastrophic and like you don't have electricity, but it kind of allows you to sort of forget about everything for a while, and it's just like, no, we're just going to stay inside and get sweaty and take showers every 2 hours and
Oh my gosh.
etc.
I haven't been through that.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
I have
Miami.
the same thing though. Like, I love skiing, and it's like wonderful to see the mountains in the snow. But like, just this like, oh no, I have to read and like drink coffee and sit here inside. Which is part of why I like the rain too. Where it's like, it's almost like spending a few years in LA, and it's like, what? I don't have any excuse to like not go outside ever.
Right.
Yeah, permission.
It's
almost.
unnatural.
Like,
They'd be like, oh no, I have to stay home. It's like pouring outside, or it's a blizzard or something. Like, it's really pleasant to be encouraged.
The world kind of slows down for a second, and you can kind of slow down with it.
Yeah, I like that too.
So I've been trying to figure out. By the way, while we are having a quick chat,
What?
Great harmony work in general.
Oh, thank
The
you.
way the voices kind of blend together,
Mhm.
really, really nice.
Thank you.
It reminds me a little bit of a band called Fleet Foxes.
we love them.
We both are really obsessed with Fleet
Like
Foxes.
obsessed. Yeah.
Nice, cool. That's good. I feel like that last track, Brittle, also kind of gave me kind of going on the cinematic vibe, like Enya sort of vibes, but like a little bit less electronic kind of stuff going on with it, but the reverb and like the
Thank you.
sort of power of like the guitar going on definitely has that. Yeah.
I heard this song Orinoco Flow when I was like 11 years old, and it was winter. Similarly, I was walking to the bus stop and the sun wasn't up yet, and it was like 6:30 in the morning, and I had an iPod Nano or Shuffle or something.
Of course, yeah.
And this song Orinoco Flow by Enya was on it, and so I, in the dark, all alone, heard it for the first time, and it was just like opened my mind. I remember it so, viscerally, of that experience that I was in the environment and the song, and I just felt like, I've never heard anything like this. And I've gotten the comparison to Enya a few times, and I think that certainly the way I want to produce, this album, it's so sad, it has to be kind of like more folksy, just a touch, like that touch of like acoustic authenticity.
You're from Colorado.
I know.
You gotta suck it up a little bit, right?
Yes, but as I move forward, like especially with just like layers of synth and that cinematic, like layers of vocals, people doing it in a contemporary way, like Why Is Blood, for sure, Florence and the Machine.
Yeah,
just seeing people do it so successfully. Huge young influence on a 10-year-old Anterra.
I also feel like I sense the influence of Bjork on you.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's sort of the things that I'm not hearing that I feel like could fill in some of those spaces. I'm have some of that more esoteric, exotic synth tone stuff. Sounds like that's maybe where some of these things are going anyway. So
Thank you.
there's one more band that I really think that you should give a listen to, but listen to their earlier stuff, because their later stuff is kind of a little more on the, like the Miami kind of took them over.
Okay.
They came from Jacksonville, Florida, just like this tiny little town-ish. College is there, but they're called 100 Waters, and they write some really beautiful, very sort of kind of stuff like I'm hearing here today.
Very cool.
So
I will.
yeah, check them out.
Will do.
We just had Thanksgiving.
Yes, we did.
Not us together, but
We all did, yeah.
As a culture.
As U.S.
Yes.
United Statesians.
Do you guys have any favorite Thanksgiving food?
I make a stuffed mushroom that my mom made. She passed away when I was very young, and so it's one of these small things that I remember that I kind of like keep that tradition up. So yeah, I make those.
Very cool.
I know it's not very traditional. I like sweet potatoes.
No, but it's meaningful.
It's
you
meaningful.
know? I feel like that's the kind of food that tastes the sweetest is the meaningful food.
Yeah.
Like you're keeping somebody's memory kind of alive, you know.
Completely, yeah. What about you?
I mean, I think it's funny to share that, like hanging out and getting to know each other, we were sharing about Thanksgiving food because, like, it just happened, and I was like, that's so funny that you say that mushroom thing, because I've had Thanksgiving a bunch where I'm, like, with Brett, like, not going home a lot, and the one thing that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make this, is that my mom would always make this, not stuffed mushrooms, but she would do, like, basically mushrooms with a bunch of cream and butter.
Ooh.
So it's like almost a mushroom gravy, but they're still like intact, like the slices of them. And that's the thing that I always make because I know no one else is gonna like make that, and it's like I need to have that on my potatoes for me to feel like happy. So I thought it was really funny. We were sharing about like Thanksgiving stuff, and I was like, what? Our favorite thing about Thanksgiving is both mushroom.
Sometimes these things just work out.
Yeah, so that's fun. We
Sometimes
had
these
2
things
types
just
of
take
mushrooms at this Thanksgiving. The stuffed and the cream gravy one.
Mushroom lovers rejoice.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a couple of artists that are near and dear to your heart. Are there any in particular that you would cite personally on a booking request?
Oh, wow.
Like, hey, I want to open up for this band.
Yeah, who are we gonna open for?
Well, I mean, I already referenced Gregory Alan Isakov. He lives in Colorado, as I understand.
Really?
Has a farm.
Huh.
It's such an ideal to look up to just like have some land and, you know, have a farm, grow food, have a community built around that, and also make your music. Probably there's a studio on site. So, yeah, that would be, you know, fantastic to collaborate with him at some point.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I think Morning Bear also kind of on the same vibe. Yeah. Very Colorado, right? From Colorado?
Yeah, they're Denver area.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
So, Anterra, how did you enjoy growing up in Colorado as a native? Now I feel like the balance of the scales is starting to go more towards the natives. I think we're at about 26 transplants, 14 natives in episode count.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my secret is that I'm not truly a native because I moved here when I was 8.
Aha!
Rather, I know.
Break them out!
I know, this is embarrassing.
The cops just burst in.
It was like maybe like a month before my 8th birthday, I think. And we had my birthday at Casa Bonita, you know, the Colorado thing to do right when we got here. So
nice.
very
that
classic.
Birthday, like, right
That
after
birthday, right when I got
Wow.
here. We didn't even know what it was yet.
Amazing.
So I feel my claim to being a native is still fairly intact because I don't have like strong memories of anywhere else.
You got here before weed was legalized.
Yes, long
You're basically
before.
a
I saw the whole change. Yeah, everything. It was great, you know, being close to mountains and this earth element, I think was pretty fundamental to how also my psyche developed of being very like diligent and hardworking and responsible and just being like a little adult way too fast. And yeah, really grounded. And I think that once I grew up, I thought, well, I had this craving kind of right when I graduated college to be around water and to just like slow down and allow for more emotional expression and you know, healing. And
Is that what water does?
feels like what water does? Yeah, in a metaphorical
Just
way.
coming from Miami.
Does it not feel like that in
I'm having,
Miami?
like,
There's a lot of emotional expression.
flashbacks.
Yeah, Miami's different. Yeah.
Just not of the kind that seems so composed.
Yeah, I went to Portland first, which was like a big slow river, and then I was living in Richmond, which was a big slow river, so kind of this like pouring.
No hurricanes.
No hurricanes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very calm water situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that actually adds up. I had not considered the benefits of location-based
As someone like
fire sign stuff.
yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
As someone very like wandering and nomadic, I think it's like you can get trapped by that because now that your mind's been open to like, oh, my environment could affect my mental health, then you always have this longing of, oh, if I go somewhere else, maybe that'll fix it, and then I'll be happy. And that sometimes doesn't work.
Perhaps, but unfortunately, I love it here.
Good.
So I think that whatever is already here is working for me.
I'm glad to hear it.
Nice.
Yeah, it huge improvement.
Good.
So, being in Colorado for as long as you have, also, where are you from originally? Are we allowed to know this?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Her real name's not Anterra either.
My government name is Anterra. It has been
It
so
is.
cool for people to learn of me as an artist and a musician first, and then be like, "Is your name also Anterra?" Like they know that it's my artist self first. It's also
Yeah.
my name. Yeah, my government name.
It's a good way to get your identity stolen. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
It's
there
a
are
great way
repercussions.
to actually sort of show off how cool your first name is. Your parents did a good enough job that like you can use it as a band name and people think it's just a cool band name.
Totally. Yeah.
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 That works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny playing together because people also ask me if Peter Stone is my real name. So we're both just like, no, it's just certain names, just regular names. Okay.
Brilliant. You guys are playing the long game.
Yeah. You're just waiting.
It's actually funny. Did we talk about this on your episode where Peter and Pedro and Pietro and Stone?
Yes, and Stone. And
and
so her name.
Yeah.
Well, do you want
Used to
to
be
tell?
rock rock.
tell her?
Sure. Well, so Terra, like the
Yes.
Latin Terra, is
Yeah.
Earth.
Earth, yeah.
My middle name is Eve, which is like my Instagram
Okay.
handle, so probably I should get rid of it, you know. But now my middle name's out there in terms of identity getting stolen. But Eve, Eve
Don't
means
get any
life.
ideas,
Yeah. Eve means life. And then Anne, you know, could be like a negation, so like not an Earth life, or you know, a life from other than
You're
Earth.
an alien.
Or, like we could analyze it all these ways. But yeah, that Earth
It's like
stone.
rock and not rock.
Rock and also not rock, which could be a description for our music, maybe. as
The
well.
Anne also means grace. If you don't think of it as
Yeah.
not rock, the Anne, like the name Anne.
Grace.
Yeah.
Earth
Rock and not rock
Life.
and roll.
and not roll.
The questions
Uh-huh.
that play out.
Just keep coming.
Truly tough to live this life. Aside from all this philosophy, I feel like we should bring it back down to Earth, the rock that we live on, by talking about this show that's coming up. When is it happening?
Yeah.
Who else is on the bill? Do you want to? Did you give a shout out to your fellow bandmates?
I have not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of bandmates to name because we're doing a double headliner. So Peter obviously has been on the show.
Not
Also-
that many other bands.
also writes music. So we're doing my music with a full band, Peter's music with a full band. Katie Yeager is opening. On bass we have Brian, and Brian Loper.
Brian Loper, he's in Satellite Front.
He was also on the
Yes.
show. Yeah.
He was on the show.
Yeah.
Push alum.
It's starting to come together.
On synth we have Nick Rolick.
Okay.
On drums for me we have Adam Kogan, who's also bassist.
Yes, who's the
For
bassist
sure.
for my
Nice.
band. It's really fun. Everyone plays all the things. I have another guitarist in my band, Matt DeRay, and then the drummer for my stuff is she has an arts project called Elise Thoreau's, which is really sick. So it's really fun. There's like a bunch of different front people that are like being the side person in each other's bands, in these bands.
Good, it's fun.
Like, because Nick also has a front person
Yep. Yeah.
playing. Brian's the songwriter for Satellite Front. So it's like everyone has their own thing, but we're just playing each other's bands.
And
Nobody
during
has
this
to-
show, we'll get to like, you know, everyone will kind of stand up and switch seats because I'm also doing
Right.
violin and harp in
For my
Peter's
stuff,
stuff. So we're like, I think we're trying to put it together to like blend our two sets into one super group set so that we can all just have like a really musical chairs type of
Yeah,
a.
That's a
That's
super
very
cool,
good.
fun
It'd be fun.
idea, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that won't be a nightmare for anybody running sound that night.
No, not at all.
In fact, actually, it's kind of easier because you just like don't have to worry about load in or load out or like set change stuff.
Yeah.
Because everybody's coming all at once and
All together.
everybody's basically sound checking all around the same time.
Yep.
And it's just one fat schedule. I don't know if they've even got a sound guy there.
First
That's
time playing in the
downstairs, right?
speakeasy for me.
Yeah.
I played at the ground floor stage, which is like pretty like classic setup with a stage and a full PA and stuff. But usually the speakeasy is just a speakeasy, so I'm curious what it'll be like to be down there.
Yeah.
It'll be nice.
We're putting a lot of musicians on that tiny stage.
But the classiness of the harp will match the classiness of the vibe.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
harps do have that going for them.
They did.
Yeah, intrinsically. You see a harp,
Yeah.
you just feel at peace.
Is it a full size harp or?
It's a folk harp,
Okay,
Celtic
cool.
harp. So
Yeah.
out of the two options, which are like a lever harp, where you control the sharping via these little levers, or pedal harp, which is with the foot pedals. Those are way bigger and way heavier to carry, and thank goodness we don't have one of those because my little harp we put in the back of our Subaru for tour and brought it with us all over the West Coast, which was a whole journey.
A full size harp is like hauling around an upright bass.
Yes, it's a
Yeah,
lot.
so this is
Yeah.
a little smaller.
Just
That's
a little
little
smaller, yeah,
Yeah.
more manageable, but still pretty big.
Don't quite need a minivan, but still pretty brutal.
Mm.
So, you guys have any more songs for us?
We have more songs, yeah.
You do? Do you want to do one or two more?
That's totally up to you on what you want to do.
I think if you want to have it,
Mhm.
then just go for it.
Okay.
Do what feels right.
Let's do it.
Let's do two.
Fantastic.
And we'll probably just have that be our outro for
Outro.
today.
Fantastic.
So I want to thank you again for being here on the sofa, answering some sweet questions for us, letting us know what Anterra, both the person and the project name, are all about.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week with another amazing guest, but for this week I will hand it over to you guys. Tell us a little bit about this song and play us out.
Okay. I think I'm going to do one that will not be on the album because it's going to be an even future song, and it's called A Mirror and Anchor. And I think that out of many attempts to process my own brain and emotional health and whatnot, love songs have not come too easy to me, but this is my best attempt so far. Mirror and Anchor.
Been a while.
Been a while.
This kind of shape.
There we go. Thank you.
I hadn't known you when fate showed me I was wrong. I can hardly hold your anchor crystal, and you just like I hope you just like I I've waited for you, I've waited. They've tried and failed, they've done we'll do one more, end of time.
Plug the show again.
Come to our show. Come to our show
Thursday.
this Thursday, 7 p.m. The Broadway on Roxy Underground. It'll be really fun, really cute, really classy. This song's called "End of Time." Luminaries leave their sacred words behind. We follow in their hollowed steps or trials of night. As darkness sees the earth die, and moon stars to carve the heavens, mirroring the sky. But I was raised January leaves its sorrow with a sigh, and I feel no reprieve within the hollow mood July. It was dark, you see.